happen to anybody else?
Well, first off, Keith Allen, thank you so much, and I will emphasize again before I answer your question, people do need to donate for the people in your show. You're carrying on a great legacy that Chuck Carter has been doing for quite a long time, and as you know, I work there with Chuck Carter myself, and people need to log into your website and donate the money that to get you on these other radio stations and to get the message out there.
Well, I appreciate the message is important.
But is the policy, do people know about the policy? Yes, they do. But they want the American people to know about the wrong, a serious wrong that happens in the military. It's called MST, and that stands for military sexual trauma, which could, there's a lot of avenues and angles of military sexual trauma. But when you hear about military sexual trauma in the media, 9 times out of 10, and it's gonna be reported from the angle from a male and female drunk in a hotel room. Now, do those stories have merit? Yes, they do. But this is the angle that the military wants you to know about, and they don't want you to know about any other serious angle, which is the angle of it's not the male and female drunk in the hotel room. That I will tell you.
Okay.
All
right, let's, for our audience, so we can have a context here, when did you enlist in the military? And you were a Navy man?
I signed up for the Navy, October 1988. In fact,
the year I graduated high school.
You graduated in 88?
I did.
Well, I graduated 87.
All right. Well, congratulations.
That's right, we're the same age almost.
So where did you enroll? Was it here in Florida?
It was in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, in Cincinnati, okay.
They psych you up to that first night that you stay, in the hotel room before you get signed up.
What do you mean? What are they, just like a pep rally?
Yeah, you don't think that you're going to be putting your right hand up and, defending the Constitution that next day.
But you did.
I did, and then I was in the service.
Now, where did they take you after that?
Well, after that, you get to go back to, I went back to where I was living at.
How did training go?
Spring training. Basic training was great. When you go into basic training, of course, your mind thinks, oh, they're going to take, you watch all these movies, they're going to take the butt of the rifle and shove it, hit you in the stomach or something like that, or punch you in the face. But it's nothing like that.
Well, is it different for Navy? Is it the same training in the Navy as it is in the Army? I'd imagine it would be different.
I couldn't tell you, but, basic training was fine. It's
so after you jog and you get a lot of exercise.
Yep, get you in shape, But
right.
After basic training is when the negative outcome or the evil or whatever you want to call it, the same stuff that's been going on, that there's never been a president in the United States of America that has put a stop to military sexual trauma.
Okay, well, hold on for a second before we go there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you went through basic training. Were you sodomized during basic training?
No.
Okay.
No.
So when you got your sea legs,
yeah,
when did you first climb aboard one of those unbelievable floating cities called a naval ship?
That would be an aircraft carrier. That would be the
all right. Well, I stand corrected.
That would be called the USS Abraham Lincoln, CVN-72, which I was the first crew on.
No kidding.
Plank owner. Got a piece of paper, all that stuff.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. A lot of people can't say that.
No, a lot of people. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are many veterans out there that are plank owners.
But you served on the USS Abraham Lincoln.
That's the ship that George Bush Jr. said the war in Iraq was over on.
So you went on there, okay?
Right before it was built in Newport News, Virginia, and then and after it was built, it ended up on the west coast of Florida. I did not make that trip. I went out for 2 weeks on the ship to get all the quirks worked out.
What was your job?
I worked in weapons.
Weapons. Okay, so you were trained in weaponry.
No, not really. I wasn't trained in weaponry. It just happened to be the division that I was working in. We had the bombs that are located at the bottom of the ship. We load all the bombs and bring them up.
That's what you did?
Yeah.
Now, did you go over to the Middle East?
No Middle East. No Middle East.
Where did you go?
It was a new ship. I only stayed in a year and 3 months. So, the new ship.
Did you stay port, or did you float around?
The ship was in port. It just got commissioned in November 26th, 22nd, 1989.
I see.
And they took it out for a 2-week shakedown to get it ready.
Get the bugs out and all that.
To get the bugs out before it went to Gitmo.
Okay.
Then after it went to Gitmo, then it would go down around,
So you served in port, more or less.
In port.
For about a year.
3 months.
A year and 3 months. So this was
1989.
And so let's get a little picture of what happened. So you're doing your job, you're learning your job.
And so the ship decides that they want to do what is called egress training. That is where every compartment, every division on the ship trains to find their way out of the compartment. Now, in order to do that, you're going to put on goggles and people are going to poke sticks at you and push you around. You got to find because it's going to be like if it went dark or
this is a drill.
It's a drill. It's a drill. It's called egress training.
I see.
Look it up, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You learned something here.
Yeah. So
thanks for teaching us.
Watch this curveball now. I don't know if Chuck ever said that, but
well,
during egress training, they decided they wanted to do their hazing, serious hazing.
No, I thought that was just for with Jack Nicholson was in that movie. Was it A Few Good Men or something like that?
That was a good movie, but
But there is hazing that does go on in the Navy.
That is correct.
All right, so all branches.
Serious hazing. And
now, what was it? Were you a target, so to speak? Were there other guys involved, or was it just you?
It was the whole division. The first guy, he was the first person to put on the goggles, and everybody poked sticks at him and pushed him around, and he was trying to find his way to the compartment to get out. And then about 7 to 8 sailors took him to the ground and held him there and took off his dungarees and his underwear.
And you watched this.
And I watched this. And
what were you thinking? Do you remember?
I was looking at my buddy, like I'm looking at you, like I was whispering, I was like, I don't want this. What the hell are they doing?
Were you scared?
Yeah, most definitely. And so I was like,
did you think this might happen to you?
Yeah, I was like,
did you feel that they were going to do this to you next, or
possibly soon? a good just by the feeling and watching it, and I try to ease over to the.
What did they do to this guy ultimately?
Took off his dungarees and his underwear and held him there, and then spread his butt cheeks open and put a chemical grease gun in his butt, squirted chemical grease, and poured chemical soap in there.
And what happened to him? Did it burn or hurt him?
I don't know. They let him up, and they all just said, ha, 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 ha.
And this was your buddy?
No, this is some other guy that was in my division.
Okay.
My buddy, unfortunately, my buddy said to me later on after Captain's Mass, he's like, thanks for doing that, because they're not doing it no more.
Well, that was good. So did several more months go by and nothing happened, or
I was kicked out of the division on that day after I went to the Master.
Whoa! But you weren't involved, were you?
Was not involved.
So why would you have gotten kicked out? What happened?
Because I reported it.
You whistleblowed.
We went right to medical the same day that it happened. That's why it's in my military file.
I see. So you saw this going on with somebody who was sodomized.
Yep, and then I tried to get out of the compartment to go to lunch and didn't make it, and they got me. And I wasn't no blind.
Now, did they do you the same thing with a grease gun?
Correct.
Okay, so they didn't stick you with something else, if you know what I mean.
No.
So you were sodomized with a grease gun.
Yeah.
Was there any damage done? I mean, did they hurt you?
Well,
what happened?
I went to the medical, that's what I'm saying. It's all in there. That's why I...
Well, tell me. For our audience, I know this is painful.
I know it is. It's
sodomize. I mean,
it's called. You could say sodomized, raped, hazed, tortured, whatever.
But why would they use a grease? Is this what they did?
This is when you're in the Navy, there is one particular hazing that is going to happen, and that's called becoming a shellback when you go across the equator.
Now, I'm not trying to be rude or cut you off, but I'm just trying to keep this in context and moving because we don't have a lot of time.
Yes, sir.
Did this change you? Did something happen to you?
After I got out of the Navy, I wondered why I was always mad all the time or why I was losing jobs all the time. It was because of being sodomized, raped.
When did you find that out that this affected you in a real way, negatively to where you got a diagnosis of PTSD, right?
Actually, when I was working for the people.
Chuck Carter's group.
Chuck Carter.
Yeah.
Being young, I was there to engineer shows, but I wanted to do funny things on radio, but I would pay attention to what Chuck was saying. And so I was like, well, let me see what this I seen something about PTSD, and I started reading it, and
I remember Chuck doing some stories on PTSD back then.
Guess who the person was in the article that was talking about the PTSD?
Would that be you?
Nope.
Chuck?
Nope.
Who?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary was talking about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Powerful stuff, huh?
So did you feel like...
I was like, I have to find out about this. That was like 94, 95. So I just, there was no internet then to look it up or nothing, Mm-hmm. Of course I could have called. So I just let it go.
You just let it go.
So then about 2005, when I came and met you for the first time, but actually we were so close together at that time back in the 90s, we could have met each other.
That's possible.
But when I came to Salem to work there, I started to read more about it then.
To understand what you had.
I understood, and what I tried to do was use my position as a producer.
Now, what I'm trying to figure out, though, and I'm just kind of thinking about your story because I've never really sat down and had this much discussion about what happened to you.
Yeah.
So after that happened, pretty much you were no longer in the Navy, but you didn't ask for this. But why would you have been discharged if you were sodomized? That you were a victim? I don't get it.
Well, that's the way the government plays their whatever kind of card.
Were you sad that you were?
I had an
ejected?
I had an honorable discharge, but
you felt like your work was done with the Navy?
No, I wanted to stay in, but it was just the fact, if this is what they're going to do, they're going to play these whatever hazing games. Let's talk about hazing for a second. Let's not forget that there was a talented black fellow who was an FAMU band student who was killed because he was hazed. I've talked to his mother. That fella's name is Robert Champion Jr. So
this definitely affected you.
Yeah, it's
in a big way. So were you really scared? How many guys held you down? Seven sailors did this, and this was their hazing thing.
Yeah,
did this happen to more than just the other guy that you saw? Did you see other people have this done too? What happened to them? Did you follow their stories?
I never followed his. I don't know if he told or.
Have you ever thought about looking them up and finding out if they're suffering with the same issues that you have today? That's my thing. And can you through the record somehow find these people?
Probably, but
I'm just in a way, I'm just kind of thinking here, okay? I'm not Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
But I feel like I am right now in the cases that I would want to talk to somebody else that served on that ship.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just saying maybe in a way if you guys banded together.
Yes.
Because I know you,
mm-hmm.
and I know how this has affected you, and it's huge this many years later. I wonder if it's affected them this way, that it's happened to, and they had the same thing happen, and what are they doing with their lives? And what are they doing now? Have you ever wondered what happened to them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. All those years that I didn't know, I think once they know that they find out the truth, that's when you're going to become even more angry once you find out the truth, because you want the truth corrected. And it makes you angry constantly.
Is the Navy doing anything to safeguard against this practice of hazing?
There are many congressional bills out there. There was one called H.R. 975, the Mental Health Review Act. There are senators and congressmen. Senator Gillibrand, she's been a champion. But when you see these stories, or they're trying to push, or they got Mrs. Smith over here, or Mr. John Smith to talk about military sexual trauma, it always seems like they're missing a few, just the main ingredients, and that is the wrong of the personality disorder discharge, which made thousands of disabled veterans miss out of VA benefits and compensations for years and save the government billions of dollars.
Bill Abkar is our guest. We'll be back. I have a live spot that's coming up. Stay tuned. More of his story on For the People.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people, for the people, for the people, for the people is there.
Keith Allen Alan here for 123 Ready TV. I'm excited about this app because I don't have to pay another cable bill for the rest of my life. And why? Well, everything that you watch on TV actually is streamed on the internet. Did you know that? Somebody's streaming it. The movie